This season of Shedding Starlight, we've walked you through the many different threads of Kingdom Hearts 2's story. Sora's main journey with Donald and Goofy, guided by Riku in disguise. Axel kidnapping Kairi in an attempt to stir Roxas awake. Maleficent and Organization 13's different agendas. Many different characters have their role in this epic adventure.
But every once in a while, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix will give you a glimpse into a mystery you might not even register until the very end, when you've unlocked either of its secret endings. In this final episode of Kingdom Hearts 2, we're going to discuss not only these secret endings, but also the trail of crumbs leading up to them that a brand new player might have overlooked. If you're someone who likes to piece together theories on your own, you might want to skip this episode.
Like Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2 has two different secret endings. A shorter version that's easier to achieve, and an additional longer version that requires more to be unlocked. The first version is titled Gathering. In it, what could be described as 3 armored knights walk up and grab familiar Keyblades: Sora's Kingdom Key, Mickey's Kingdom Key D, and Riku's Way to Dawn, which he eventually got before Kingdom Hearts 2. These 3 Keyblades were sticking up from the desert soil, among hundreds of other rusty Keyblades surrounding the knights. They notice a 4th figure in the distance walking towards them, and the scene ends. The second version, called Birth by Sleep, is a continuation of this scene. The one approaching is a very intimidating old man. He duplicates, and his doppelganger flashes into a guy wearing a helmet, whose outfit strongly resembles Riku's dark form in Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories. Both of these sketchy characters have their own Keyblades. In this desert, the 5 wielders have an epic battle, but the old man and his partner rise victoriously. The old man turns his Keyblade into an orb of darkness and shoots it into the sky. It disturbs the dense clouds, and they recede, revealing Kingdom Hearts. By the end of the teaser, the 3 knights are unmasked. One is a woman with blue hair, another a man with brown hair, and the final knight is Roxas? And he's not the only familiar face, as we see Mickey Mouse arriving late, looking out at the battlefield.
As for the knights we don't recognize, the man and woman, while this secret ending is the first time we see their faces, beforehand we at least see their armor. Let's begin with the woman with short blue hair. During the big battle at Hollow Bastion, we get 2 out-of-place yet important flashbacks, which we've spoken of already earlier in this season. The first is Xemnas accessing the basement to Hollow Bastion's castle. He passes by a hall of cells and sits in the Chamber of Repose, a circular white room. There, he speaks to a cluster of armor on the floor.
It has been far too long, friend.
This is the armor of the lady. Even her Keyblade is present. We can deduce the secret ending occurred before this, since the armor is damaged, although that doesn't bode well for the lady it belonged to. The following flashback builds upon this scene. Through the organization members Vexen, Zexion, and Xigbar, we learn that the Chamber of Repose is Xemnas' usual spot, at least at the time. Xemnas visited this room so frequently that his subordinates gossiped about it. They dared each other to follow him.
Go and see for yourself.
That isn't funny!
Xigbar, specifically, is beyond curious about it. He even once tried listening in, but couldn't make out the conversations taking place. And this is important not only because he's second in command, but he himself seems to know about the battle from the secret ending.
How long ago was it? When a bunch of warriors wielding key-shaped swords appeared and unleashed a spectacular battle.
He even says to Sora, right before their fight in the world that never was,
I guess that must be why the Keyblade chose you. But man, did it pick a dud this time. You don't look like you're half the hero the others were.
So if Xigbar knows about these Keyblade Knights, his suspicion for Xemnas speaking one-sidedly to a set of their armor makes sense. How could the empty armor reply? Xigbar knows even more as he reveals to Zexion that the Chamber of Repose has a twin elsewhere, the Chamber of Waking, which allegedly also contains something. If knowledge is power, perhaps Xigbar is only informing Zexion in an exchange for intel on what Xemnas discusses in the Chamber of Repose, which is involved with, or perhaps is, Xemnas' secret that Xigbar also inquired.
We get other implications of a connection between Xehanort and the knights of this Keyblade battle, like what Xigbar further says to Zexion.
And when it was all over, all that was left was a man lying unconscious without his memories. Xemnas, Xehanort, was found by Ansem right around then, wasn't he?
The way Xigbar says this, at least in English, makes it sound like the man who lost his memories and Xehanort are two different people. But remember that Ansem the Wise found Xehanort with amnesia nearing death, so it's likely Xigbar was just speaking mysteriously. The way Xemnas calls the lady's armor his friend almost seems sarcastic or condescending. So if his original self, Xehanort, really is connected to this Keyblade battle, it's possible he has a bad history with these knights. And this is most evident with our second knight, the tall man with brown hair. This knight is referred to as the Lingering Will, as he is a boss fight required for unlocking the full Birth by Sleep secret ending. To reach him, there's a giant corridor of darkness that appears in Disney Castle that Sora, Donald, and Goofy pass through. Upon arrival, the knight is found kneeling with his Keyblade, and he speaks in a similar manner that Xemnas as a secret boss did in the original Kingdom Hearts game, without a voice actor. Instead, we only hear metallic groans for speech. Seeing Sora's Keyblade, the knight assumes to know Sora and tries to remember him. At first, he dismisses Sora as someone he chose, whatever that means, and then he mistakes Sora for Xehanort, and the knight stands out of rage, beginning the boss fight. If you're victorious, the Lingering Will is quelled, and he kneels once again and resumes his long waiting. It isn't concrete whether or not this fight between the knight and Sora is actually canon. Perhaps it's stated so in the Ultimanias, but Sora, Donald, or Goofy have yet to reference this in any game. The strange dialogue this knight says is quite revealing. He not only reveals a grudge against Xehanort, but he also says what sounds to be the names of the two other knights, Aqua and Ven. Aqua is a fitting name for the Blue Lady, but Ven could belong to no other than the final knight, the blonde boy who ends up frozen by the old man, the boy we know to be Roxas.
We've covered that greater nobodies remember their previous life, so they maintain their original appearance, which makes Roxas such a complicated character. He is most assuredly the nobody of Sora, but the two don't look exactly alike. This is most likely because Roxas doesn't have Sora's memories, or any memories from before he was born. If Roxas remembered a past outside of Sora's life, he would most likely remember this battle of Keyblade Wielders. But Roxas left the organization because he knew so little about the Keyblade.
Why did the Keyblade choose me? I have to know.
Even when Roxas wields two Keyblades during his fight with Axel and Sora, neither of these Keyblades are the one we see in the secret ending. In fact, that Keyblade is held with a reverse grip. This muddies the water between Roxas as we know him and the boy in the secret ending. Even though the situation on Roxas/Ven seems contradictory, at least we can take the situation with the other character we recognize, Mickey, at face value, although it too has mysteries.
First of all, we know that Mickey met Xehanort. We saw it in the flashback where Xehanort, as an apprentice, was rejected by Ansem the Wise. And we've previously discussed how Mickey and Xehanort himself likely had a conversation, as Xehanort wrote about in one of his Kingdom Hearts 1 reports. However, Mickey still struggled to remember how he recognized Xemnas, which begs the question, how could Mickey arrive at a battle that Xehanort is connected to, but not remember Xehanort from this battle at all? There's also the matter of Mickey's Keyblade in this secret ending. In our very first season on Kingdom Hearts 1, we discuss how the door to darkness is connected to Sora's Keyblade, the Kingdom Key, and Mickey's Keyblade, the Kingdom Key D, or Dark Side. However, here in this teaser, Mickey is wielding a different Keyblade, one that Sora eventually obtains from Yen Sid, Starseeker. It's most likely the Keyblade Mickey simply had before, and he probably had it when visiting Radiant Garden, ironically teaching Xehanort about the Keyblade, something he may have already known of before losing his memories. The secret endings to Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix are so iconic, they're still often the topic of conversations among fans to this day. The surprising turns of seeing faces we recognize, like Mickey or Roxas's, and the reveals of entirely new people, like the two other knights, the helmeted figure, and the devious-looking old man.
Somehow these characters have ties to Xehanort, the man who spawned the two main villains from Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Whatever his life was before becoming an apprentice, we now know that Sora is not the first Keyblade wielder who's had conflict with Xehanort. Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix secret ending. There's obviously some shenanigans going on here, Mel. Wouldn't you agree?
Shenanigans with a capital S.
So before we get started talking about said shenanigans, I would like to remind everybody, especially those who are caught up with the series, that this show is for people who are not caught up with the series. So we will be avoiding spoilers. And we will not be speaking in depth about anything coming in the future. We are doing that purposefully. We are doing that with, the newbie player in mind. So we would ask that when writing comments in the description or in the comments of this YouTube channel of this video, that you keep that in mind as well. That this show is geared towards people who don't know what's going on, who are new to what's going on here. Because we know what we're talking about, obviously.
We know. We know. We know everything. We know everything.
But, some listeners don't. So we are moving forward with that in mind. So, moving forward with that in mind, this is maybe one of the best scenes in all of Kingdom Hearts series. In my opinion.
This fucking scene, Hannah, rearranged my brain as, I don't even know how old I was.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, I remember having stacks of, maybe not stacks, but, groups of paper with drawings on them that were all inspired by this cutscene, the long one where they're all fighting. I always say, so I was never emo, and I never was seen But if there was anything even adjacent to that or going in that direction, it was from and it was fueled by this cutscene. It's just so good.
It was like this cutscene, like the time between this and like the next game coming out. This was when I was on online Kingdom Hearts, like back in 2006, whatever the fuck year this was. Mm-hmm. You know, I was I didn't get high-speed internet until around like junior high, which was a few years after this. So I remember like pulling up YouTube, waiting for like a 3-minute video to load, and that's back when YouTube like would load the whole video at once. It would take hours for a YouTube video to load with my internet, and bitch, I was loading this video. I was loading Kingdom Hearts 2 secret ending.
Especially because what?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that new players have this at their hands. But you and I couldn't play it. It was an exclusive in Japan. So the only way we could see this particular cutscene was on YouTube.
Yeah. And even so, like, I was, like, what? 10, 9 when Kingdom Hearts 2 came out? Like, I wasn't 100% in Kingdom Hearts 2 to get the secret ending when I was that young. Yeah. Like, it wasn't happening. So, like, even just the short secret ending, like, was crazy and like impossible to achieve, and you could only see it on YouTube pretty much if you were my age and not a real gamer. You know.
Yeah. Especially that back then YouTube didn't have like, I mean, maybe YouTube had 1080p videos, but they weren't very common. And
I don't think
even
so.
when you watched it, you watched it in so low quality that
in like a square format, like a CRT,
4:3. Good times.
Yeah, and to kind of move off of that, perhaps I haven't mentioned this before, but I did grow up with vanilla Kingdom Hearts 2, not Final Mix. So when we first saw the secret ending, we were convinced that this was like this secret ending of these 3 nights was gonna be the future, like, because you know, we recognize Roxas, we recognize Mickey, and then there's these new characters that we haven't seen, and this new armor that we haven't seen, because the cutscenes that we talked a lot about in the presentation were not in the vanilla game. So like there were no clues to show you that like, no, this probably happened before all of this. Yeah. So it's very interesting. It's very fun to think like I remember, again, going back to those YouTube videos, people were labeling, like, kids who were uploading these didn't know what the fuck they were talking about and labeled the videos Kingdom Hearts 3 Birth by Sleep and Kingdom Hearts 3 The Keyblade War. It's like it was a different time. It was a different time.
People still do that shit today, but with modern Kingdom Hearts.
And then like splicing in like Final Fantasy cutscenes into it to make it seem like an actual trailer for something. Yeah.
And then, of course, you might have, like, unregistered hypercam in the top right corner. Or, like, the description will be like, I do not own Kingdom Hearts. Or, I own nothing.
Owned by Nomura. Yeah. It was a time. It was a time.
The good old days. The good old days. Okay. So, getting into, like, the actual information. I have so much I want to talk about. I hope that's okay, Hannah.
Yes, absolutely.
So, one thing that I didn't really write it into the presentation because I didn't really feel like it was really relevant, at least not with like what we know right now. But with all of these Keyblades, you know, they start off in the desert, but they're surrounded by like hundreds of Keyblades.
Yeah.
And they make up like this crossroad. And I think that is such an interesting idea because So it's so funny that we're making this episode now because recently it was the game Birth by Sleep's anniversary, and Nomura released a statement. And I don't want to like read out this statement because one, it's really long, and two, it talks about future games. Like we don't really need to do that. Mm-hmm. But he brings up the idea of like he wanted to do a crossroads based off of the American legend of like a man going to the crossroads, meeting the devil, and making a deal, which I think it was so he could play guitar. I don't remember. Yeah. My only knowledge on it is that one Supernatural episode, and I don't really remember how it goes. But, and that I think is just so interesting, this idea of crossroads, because Nomura also says in this statement that he also did it in Chain of Memories when Sora meets a hooded Marluxia. And Marluxia is like, if you want to find what you're looking for, come to Castle Oblivion or whatever. I don't remember what he says. Yeah. And so I just think that's such interesting imagery to use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's very, what's the word? I feel like poignant is not the right word. Very visceral, maybe. Very literal for like what, at least with Chain of Memories, like what's happening there. And then I guess what you could say with the fight with these knights, like obviously it's a battle between two sides, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like a very literal visual interpretation of like, you know, two sides coming to a cross, you know, sides clashing, a choice being made, stuff like that. Good writing, good storytelling, for sure.
So good. Very good storyboarding. Something I've really learned about Nomura, I don't know if other people would agree, but in my opinion, Nomura is a very visual guy, where he almost writes entire stories around a picture he sees in his head. And so I wouldn't be surprised if like a scene he had in his head was this spooky old man rising up to Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Surrounded by rusty old Keyblades and Keyblade warriors who are struggling for their breath because they just got their ass whooped. You know, it's a very visual picture.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Also,
what?
Just crazy. I like I said before, one of the coolest scenes in all of Kingdom Hearts, and like just the visual of fucking Keyblades being thrown around by these fucking guys. So cool. So wild.
Very cool. It's one of my, completely. I think it's a very, very cool thought. Like, one of them's, like, riding on it, like, it's like a fucking, like, not skate, like, he's, like, surfing on them.
Yeah,
very cool, very cool.
Yeah, and again, like, contrasting this whole, like, chosen Keyblade, one chosen Keyblade wielder, Sora. Yeah. Like, now there's hundreds, if not thousands, of Keyblades being thrown around. Like, times have changed, things are different, things are not what we thought they were.
That's right. If you're playing Kingdom Hearts for the first time, guess what? Congratulations. You have reached a very important Kingdom Hearts milestone, which is there is no longer one chosen Keyblade wielder. You have made it to where there is fucking countless of them. Everybody gets one. And that, you know, like, you graduated. Like, congratulations.
Yeah, I remember, I think we talked about this in maybe Kairi Namine episode. People, like the fanboys being mad, like, oh, Kairi gets a Keyblade now? Everyone gets a Keyblade now? Fuck yeah, everyone gets a Keyblade now.
Yeah,
everyone's got a Keyblade now. Get over it.
You want one too. Why are you groveling? Like, get over it.
Yeah.
And, okay, so, speaking of Keyblades and everybody getting a Keyblade, in the short secret ending that we get first, we see these three knights pull out Sora, Mickey, and Riku's, I almost said Donald, and Riku's Keyblades. But in the longer version, which came out, I guess, Like in real life, it came out like what, a year later, because Final Mix came out like a year later, maybe, give or take a few months. And so eventually at some point, I guess the developers were like, actually, let's drop them having 2 Keyblades and let's just have them wield their own. Because in the longer secret ending where they're actually fighting, they don't have Sora, Riku, and Mickey's Keyblades are not there. They're not there, right?
Yeah.
And what was my point with this? Okay, so for one thing, Johan sent us an email where he asks about this. So Johan asks, what are your thoughts on the 3 armored characters picking up the Keyblades of Sora, Riku, and Mickey, respectively? And do you think there could be a meaning for who picked whose Keyblade? And if so, what do you think the meaning could be? And this was something I kind of thought. So in the presentation, we kind of talked about, like, why the fuck is Roxas there? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like,
you what the fuck, yeah.
But in this scene where they're all picking up people's Keyblades, this little knight, the short one, doesn't even pick up the Kingdom Key, which is what Sora wielded. Roxas wielded it in his fight with Riku, you know? And so he didn't even pick up that one. He picked up Riku's. And so you would think if there was some connection, then he would have picked up the Kingdom Key, you know? But he didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there is a connection between who picked up what.
Yeah.
Not that I can fucking see.
Yeah, like, this is a good train of thought to have, that, like, they would be naturally drawn to, like, one of these 3 Keyblades, and that would be symbolic, because this whole fucking series is full of that shit. Full of symbolism and being drawn to people and drawn to objects, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, this one connection that we possibly could make at this point in time just doesn't really make sense. So it's like,
which
it's difficult.
Makes me wonder if that's one of the reasons why they dropped it. If they're like, well, like, if we didn't have them pick up Keyblades relevant to them, then maybe we just shouldn't keep it at all, you know?
Yeah. So
but anyway. Thank you for the email, Johan. I know you have a few other questions that we'll get to as we go along, so that's exciting. Okay. The other thing I wanted to say is with the whole crossroad thing and, like, meeting the devil at the crossroad, that is so fitting because this motherfucker looks so goddamn evil. He looks so evil. I was making myself laugh the other day where I was like, this guy could look at a plant and the plant would wilt because he's so scary.
The evilest looking motherfucker you've seen in your entire life. Like,
ever.
Like, you look up the dictionary definition of, like, villain, and there he is.
It's crazy. I'm surprised he's not sitting. He's not, like, sitting in one of those chairs that rotates with, like, an ugly
with
cat.
A cat.
Like, he's so scary.
Oh my god.
We had this friend who recently played through the Kingdom Hearts series, and the first time he saw him in this cutscene, Jimmy went like, ugh, 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 like, because he's just so scary. That being said, I love this guy. I love him. I can't wait till we see more. I love this guy.
Oh my god. Yeah. It's very funny. How fucking evil he was. And again, throwing, like, fucking earthbending in this fucking desert. Yeah. Throwing Keyblades around. Ooh, like,
we haven't even gotten to that. How the fuck did he even, like, rise a plateau? We haven't. Yeah. Like, that is, by the way, that's never explained that he could do that. He just does. Okay.
He's evil. That's why.
The earth is too scared to disobey him, so it just does it.
Yeah. So, a few people had some questions and comments about the outfits of these 2 mysterious non-knight characters, these evil motherfuckers, if you will. Dyxo says, this isn't a question so much as a detail I'd like to bring to everyone's attention. Notice the resemblance between the outfits between the two men fighting the knights to Dark Riku and Ansem the Seeker of Darkness's outfits. Sure, old guy believes in shirts, unlike Ansem, but for how fashion-focused Nomura is, there are no coincidences.
That I love the way Dyxo phrases that. Ansem doesn't believe in shirts.
That is fucking funny. I mean, if you got the chest, sort of, you know.
I know. You work hard. You do all kinds of crunches and exercises. You better show up your work.
It's the power of darkness just, like, puffing his chest out more. And then Adrian also says, why is Baldi's sidekick dressed like Riku's dark mode?
You know, I almost called that helmet guy a sidekick in the presentation. And then I thought to myself, that guy would not want to be called a sidekick. So I better call him something else. So I went with the word partner instead.
That's funny.
So, honestly, it is really interesting that both these brand new villains, at least that we know of, like the other guy has a helmet on, but like, they both are dressed like other characters we know of.
Yeah.
And I do think that that's very interesting. I have always thought that Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, you know, when we first learn about him in Kingdom Hearts 1, he's like, oh, I'm a scholar and I love science.
Yeah.
And then he's dressed like that. Like, I don't even know how to describe that outfit.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it is weird that it's similar, if not almost like the exact same as what this old guy wears. But the old guy just buttons it up, you know?
Yeah.
And then the dark form is also fucking weird. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's very, very weird. Especially because I think Riku gets the dark form because Maleficent grants him a power, right? It might be because of Ansem. I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Sorry that we don't remember.
Yeah, I don't fucking remember.
It's because it's like Riku works for Maleficent, and Maleficent gives him, like, the ability to control Heartless, and then very soon after, because Riku... hold on. No, I have to look. Let me just look up Kingdom Hearts 1 cutscenes real quick. If this was... Okay, before Riku gets possessed by Ansem, he already has the dark form outfit. Mm-hmm. So... Okay. I guess, like... But I guess that doesn't really help us. Either way, like, it's still just, like, a dark, powerful outfit, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I will say that the two differences, I guess, like, one, this new helmet guy, his is, like, a red version, and Riku's is more purple. But also, Riku had, like, do you remember how we had to clarify? Riku didn't lose his heart, okay? He didn't make a nobody, okay? Like, calm down. That didn't happen. But his outfit does have, like, this big heart symbol that's, like, a negative shape on his chest.
Yeah.
But this guy doesn't have that. It's just, like, more, like, sinew or muscle or fiber? Mm-hmm. Anyway. So, I don't know. It is very weird that these characters are dressed like villains we already know. It's weird. Okay, so something that... I just love the shot of Kingdom Hearts appearing through the sky. I already said this, but it really did, like rearrange me as a child watching it on YouTube. It's just so, like, the music and, like, the way it's done. But speaking of that Kingdom Hearts, you might be wondering, okay, well, like, if we're deducing that this is the past... You know, we've already talked about how Kingdom Hearts 1 had a Kingdom Hearts that was made from Ansem the Seeker of Darkness stealing the Hearts of Worlds using Heartless. But then that Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts from Jesus. Literally, I hate that the game and the moon are called the same thing. The Kingdom Hearts in the first game got dispersed when the worlds were restored because they got their hearts back. And then in Kingdom Hearts 2... Kingdom Hearts, like, blew up from Ansem's... blew up! Anyway, from Ansem's...
From his fucking machine or whatever.
From his weird machine. And then Xemnas was like, I have to start all over. And so, whatever this Kingdom Hearts is that we see in the secret ending, it seems like a fucking third one. How many are there?
How many fucking are there? And this one's blue.
And this
for
one's
some
blue.
reason.
And it looks fucking huge.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on there.
But I did just want to emphasize that it doesn't seem to be the one from Kingdom Hearts 2 or Kingdom Hearts 1 for the newcomers, for the new listeners.
Yeah. So there's quotes at the beginning of, I don't remember if it's the short one or the long one.
I think it's the short one.
Okay. The quotes that, because the last secret ending we talked about had a lot of like phrases that we kind of went over. And so the quotes on this one are, the Keyblade is said to hold phenomenal power. One legend says its wielder saved the world, while another says that he wrought chaos and ruin upon it. And then it quotes the Ansem Report 8. Is that all from Ansem Report 8?
I think so. Let me go look right now. So you want to hear something fucking weird?
What?
On this wiki, it says 9. Ansem Report 9. I wonder if Ansem... you know what?
It's because of the Report 0, right?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
How true.
So it is in there,
it is
right? Okay.
in this.
All right.
Yeah. Maybe the legend about the Keyblade is so kind of confusing. Like, is it good? Is it bad? Because you have knights versus these two other characters that also have Keyblades. So maybe if they go to different worlds and they do different things, people are either going to have a good experience with it or a bad experience.
That is so true. Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting.
So, which I think is a good explanation on. Because, I mean, Sora, the report that we're talking about is from the first game. And Sora, who has a Keyblade, was just a little goody boy, Yeah. He didn't want to hurt anybody. And so people might be like, how could he ever wrought chaos?
Yeah, that's a very interesting line that I want to know about. Just like, what happened there? A Keyblade wielder using over? Like fucking, like, what's putting, how do I say wrought in this tense?
Rings?
Ringing.
Heating up.
Bringing chaos and ruin. I don't know what the right
I don't know what it is either.
I want to know what happened there. That's wild.
Yeah. Maybe it was this,
Maybe it was this. But with the fate of the knights, who's around to tell that story,
That is so true. That's such a good segue. Did you do that on purpose?
No, I didn't.
Wow. Oh my god. Well, I'm going to take advantage of it because I was going to say, is it just me or is the two knights that we see in not the secret ending, but in the cutscenes that we've talked about that kind of lead up to it with like Xigbar, the organization, and Xemnas or whatever. Is it just me or are these knights like ghosty? Because when Sora arrives at the desert through the corridor of darkness, it seems to me like the lingering will has been kneeling there for who knows how long.
Yeah.
And then when Sora beats it up, it just goes back to kneeling. And it's like, are you just there forever? Is that just where you are now? Like, that's a very ghosty thing.
It feels very mythological to me. Like, there's a myth of a knight, that waits for his compatriots in the desert, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Thank you. You nailed it. You nailed exactly like the vibe that I was trying to describe. Amazing. And then the other one, the one that Xemnas talks to, like, in my head, I'm almost picturing like this cluster of armor on the floor. You ask it almost like a fairy tale. If one's a myth, the other one seems like a fairy tale where you ask it a question and then it like builds itself back up into the shape of a person to like answer. Yeah. And then it falls back down like a mirror. Is Xemnas just mirroring in this room? It's weird.
That doesn't happen. That's just Mel's, like,
No, yeah.
imagination.
The thing is we don't know what's happening. Because, like, even, we see Xemnas say, try to, like, talk to the armor. But then it cuts away. And so another possibility is that Xemnas is just talking to metal on the floor, literally getting no responses. Like, it's just weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
So both of those, both of those just remind me of, like, ghosts. Things, different ways that ghosts enter stories.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah. It's very haunted. It's very
haunted. Thank you.
Yeah.
I literally can't believe I couldn't think of that word. Haunted. It's haunted armor. That's how it strikes me.
Yeah. Both of them are very haunted, it seems. Yeah.
You know what it's giving?
What?
I'm gonna say it. It's giving animatronics stuffed with the bodies of children. That's what it's giving. I said it. Anyway.
What, 7 years before it got popular? Or whatever.
Nomura was there first. And then, what did I write here? So, okay. Here is what is so weird about the lingering will being so angry at Xehanort. Is that, like, part of me wants to say, was he there at this battle? Are there more people at this battle than we saw? Because we didn't see the ending. We didn't see the 3 knights, croak. Yeah. There's still a conclusion. We don't know what the old guy did with Kingdom Hearts after it appeared, know. And so, is there, like, more people at this battle? Was Xehanort there? Did Xehanort betray this knight, and that's why he's fucking mad? Because, the way the knight was so mad, that seems like the kind of shit that happens when you believe someone and they betray you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's so odd with, like, there's seemingly all of these connections to Xehanort. I feel like an investigator with the red yarn putting pictures up and just, like, circling people and making the connections. And it's like, something's going on. Something's happening.
On.
Shenanigans.
How is he involved?
As I said.
Yeah. Especially because, okay, so in Kingdom Hearts 1, we discussed how Xehanort shot Kairi off to Destiny Islands. And so I'm wondering, like, was he at this battle? And then I assume Ansem the Wise never left Radiant Garden. When he's writing his reports about his early days, Ansem the Wise never makes any implication that he ever left Radiant Garden. He's the ruler, he wants to take care of his people. And so I assume that if Ansem the Wise found Xehanort from death's door with amnesia, that would have been at Radiant Garden.
Yeah.
So how could Xehanort have all this beef and then end up there? It's weird. I was going to say, is that, like, foreshadowing where what happened to him he did to Kairi? Or what? Yeah. It's just weird.
It's very odd.
But he is fucking involved, and we are putting those little red strings together.
We're trying.
Okay, so the last thing I wanted to mention, it's interesting that we talk so much about Xigbar in the presentation, because we barely talk about him in the discussion.
This is our first time mentioning him, I think, yeah.
Which is crazy, because he seriously does, like, a full, what's it called when a villain, like, reveals their whole goal?
Monologue?
I guess monologue. I was gonna say, what is the tool in a story when characters say information? Exhibition?
I don't know.
Exhibition, maybe?
No,
let me look that up. Whatever. Either way, Xigbar just reveals a lot of fucking information. Like, a lot. And then he never does it again. It's just in this one fucking scene. And so, but here's the thing. Here's what's really weird about this guy. Is that in Jiminy's journal, his entry on Xigbar at one point says, surely he has a greater goal in mind, but what could it be? Which is fucking weird because he dies at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah.
So it's like, does it matter? Does his goal even matter? Like, unless someone, like, picks up his torch, but what greater goal?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Exposition. That's the word you were looking for.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was Googling it.
That's exactly.
Because it started to bother me too.
Oh my god. The way I literally have a pun on exposition used in one of my Kingdom Hearts video series, and I couldn't remember the word. Jesus Christ. Okay, anyway.
To move on to our email section, we got a lot of emails. We've already covered a few, but we have some more from Adrian and Johan, and we also have one from Steven. So Adrian's first question that we're going to cover. In the secret ending, we see countless Keyblades stuck in the ground. Could Sora, Riku, and Kairi's Keyblades have been among them before choosing them?
This, I think, that is so interesting. We did kind of... This is interesting in the idea if we're wrong about the Knights and that this is the future.
Mm-hmm.
But also, okay, so we've talked before about how Kairi's Keyblade, like, appears out of nowhere. Like, girl, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? And we didn't
it was in
even...
Riku's ass.
Yeah, right. And we didn't even talk about, I don't think, how Riku just suddenly has a Keyblade in Kingdom Hearts 2 when he did not have one in Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're like a brand new Kingdom Hearts fan, some nerd, trivia nerd, is gonna dump on you that his Keyblade in Kingdom Hearts 2 is kind of based off of a weapon that Riku has in Kingdom Hearts 1, but it just looks a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like based off of like the baton Ansem has when you fight him as the final boss. Mm-hmm. But like the point is like how did it become a Keyblade? How did Riku get that? Mm-hmm. And so I do think it would be really interesting. I don't know if this is what Adrian meant, but if Keyblades are kind of stored here at this desert until someone like earns them, and then maybe the Keyblade disappears and like appears in their hand or something.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't think that would be the case with the Kingdom Key, because the Kingdom Key seems to be tied with the Door to Darkness.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's weird, but it's an interesting idea. I do think it's an interesting idea.
Okay, so Adrian's next question. The Lingering Will recognizes Sora's Keyblade and states that Sora is not the one he chose. What do you think he means by that?
It is weird that he says that. What do you think? If I don't know when you don't know, who's driving the podcast? It's really weird, yeah.
It's weird, yeah.
You could be like, what?
It just, like, we barely know anything about these people. I'm sure there's some event, some vision, some thing that happened that we just don't know about, that we don't have any idea about yet.
Yeah.
It's just kind of impossible to say, impossible to tell at this point in time. Yeah.
The most I could like add on to it is in Kingdom Hearts 1 and maybe in Kingdom Hearts 2, maybe like Yen Sid says it or something, where like Sora is the Keyblade's chosen one.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mention some other person choosing Sora for the Keyblade. It almost makes it sound like the Keyblade itself is like sentient.
Yeah.
You know, but by this time in Kingdom Hearts 2, especially by the secret ending, the Keyblade, in parentheses S, Keyblades, seem a little less sentient and a little more akin to just weapons.
Yeah.
But, so I don't know. I don't know what that fucker means by you're not the one I chose. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Which I do. Of course I do. But we're not going to say it, so I don't know.
Yeah. Reminder, we know. We know. But we're ignoring that. All right. To move on to Johan's other questions. Honestly, the secret ending feels so direct that I find it hard to question anything about it, except maybe who the old guy managed to just make Kingdom Hearts appear in the way he did.
I love that Johan brought this up because I do have theories on why this guy, like, I don't know if he, well, like, I do know, but, like, hypothetically, I don't know if his Keyblade, like, disappeared and a dark ball appeared instead, or if the Keyblade turned into a dark ball. Why shoot the dark ball up into the sky, which brings Kingdom Hearts to you? Like, I do have a lot. I do have theories about it, period. I do think that this Keyblade is very interesting. Yeah. And what he does with it is very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Very crazy behavior happening here on this day. And then Johan's next question about Lingering Will. This boss introduced us to the concept of Keyblade transformations, with Lingering Will transforming his Keyblade into at least 4 or 5 different forms during his fight. Do you know what the said forms are, and how would you rank them from 1 to 4 or 5?
Okay, I was telling Hannah earlier, I said, this is going to be the question that screws me, because I have to admit, I've never fought the Lingering Will. Okay, I admit it, everybody. My arms are out, arrest me. I literally don't care.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. You and me and our friend Danny, whenever Jimmy was fighting Lingering Will, we did the research on how to fucking beat him. I remember. Yeah. I found some person's like YouTube short showing how to cheese it, and the person said a spoiler in the YouTube short that Jimmy hadn't seen yet, and I downloaded it and edited it out so Jimmy wouldn't get like spoiled on it, but we could still beat Lingering Will. So we've done the work. We've been around the block. Okay, we haven't done it ourselves, but like we've seen it. We've been there.
I have seen over and over again the Lingering Will turning his Keyblade into like a vehicle and flying it around like Santa. Okay, on a sleigh. I have seen that, and I will say I think that one is my favorite, mainly because the thing is about this bitch's Keyblade transformations is they happen so fast. This guy doesn't let up. He is just whamming on Sora. Okay? Each Keyblade transformation is like 2 seconds long. Besides the car thing where he goes back and forth and back and forth. Yeah. So that's the only one I can really like even picture in my head because the other ones are just so fast.
Yeah, I'm looking for them.
And like he does a bunch of different things. He like changes. It is okay. So from like a lore standpoint, it is very interesting that this knight seems to be so either his Keyblade is like unique, or he is so advanced in the art of Keyblade fighting that he knows how to change the shape of his weapon. That is very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Also, his Keyblade is just fucking huge. It's as big as he is.
It's so big. Rose could have gotten that shit at the end of the Titanic. You know what I mean? That's how fucking big it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so he turns it into a gun at one point. It's just like a bigger version of the Keyblade. Just as a fucking cannon. He's doing the car thing again. Damn, I want to ride around on that motherfucker. There's the Disney World ride of this.
But see how they're all so fast? It's like, how the fuck am I even supposed to see any of this? I'm not gonna do a... Oh my god, it really is a giant gun. It's huge!
There's like... Okay, there's another one that's sort of like the cannon. I'm wondering if it's the same thing. It gets bit... It's like... What the fuck is that? It turns into like gears, and it's... But he uses it as like a... Kind of like a spear motion. He kind of thrusts it. And it gets big. So I wonder if that's one of the ones he's talking about. It does kind of the same spinny motion as the gun does.
Here's the thing about me. Here's the thing about Mel Kingdom Hearts, okay? I love the lore. And of other video games, I love the lore. But I will never fight an uber hard super boss, ever.
Yeah.
Ever. I do not care.
I'm kind of that way, but I'm also like, I have basically been 100%ing Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3 just for fun, especially Kingdom Hearts 3. I won't talk about it in any detail, but I think Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3 are the only games that I've ever wanted to do like big hard super bosses for, and I'm really not like a capital G gamer when it comes to that sort of stuff, because they're fun and it feels very satisfying to beat them, but like it's not something I seek out. Video games can be easy.
Video games can be easy.
You're allowed to play them on easy mode for
and
the
you know
experience.
what? I am so confident in my knowledge as a Kingdom Hearts fan. I am not threatened at all. The fact that I do not fight these hard bosses. Like, come at me. Come fight me. I could speak about theories you would not even dream of. Like, let's go.
Last form I want to talk about. He turns it into a whip at one point, which is fucking
I do
cool.
love that one. I do know that one, and I do love it. That one's crazy.
We'll end on that one. That one's fucking cool. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. Whip number 1. That's what I'll say.
I like the car. I want to drive around. Beep, beep.
The car's cool too. Okay. Those are the top 2.
He should he should fucking ride it like a skateboard. Like a flying skateboard. That's what he should do.
Like delivering mail in Twilight Town.
Yes! Literally, Roxas knows what's up. He knows what's up.
Okay, our last question from my friend Steven. Hello, Steven.
Hi, Steven.
Hi, Steven. So question from Steven. If you were to set aside everything that you know about where the franchise does go, using only the information and open questions from Kingdom Hearts, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, and Kingdom Hearts 2, what do you think the next game would be like? What questions should it answer? What might those answers be?
Hannah, do you and I know my case, but I feel like both of us, we don't even need to imagine, we just need to remember. Like, what were people saying back then?
I mean, so, like, I feel like I'm able to imagine in the context of everything we've talked about today. Like, obviously, like, Xehanort, there's some mysteries surrounding Xehanort. That led to the downfall of these fucking knights.
Yeah.
And we've only really, so far, have confronted his Heartless and his Nobody.
Yeah.
And where is he now? Where is he now? So what happened here? What happened with these knights? Also, like, clearly, again, we talked about Xigbar a little bit. Xigbar knows something.
Yeah, he knows something.
He knows something, so, like...
He knows a few somethings. Multiple somethings.
Plus, like, just kind of... There are a lot of members of the organization that we don't know anything about as of, like, this installment.
Yeah.
So, like, where did they come from? How did they get, you know, webbed into the whole Xemnas Xehanort saga, you know?
Yeah.
I guess, like, most of my questions revolve around the villains and the antagonists.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because,
like, there's a good, like, Sora and Riku go home at the end. Like,
yeah, you're so right. They're home.
So, like, yeah, it's just kind of unraveling the mysteries that are still here.
Yeah.
By the end. What about you, Mel?
So, I'll tell you what I remember thinking.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so this might be the type of spoiler that's like a deconfirmation. Like, what I'm about to say is 100% definitively not the case. Is that okay that I say it anyway?
I have no idea where you're going, but yeah, go for it.
I used to think that the brown-haired guy was Sora's dad. Like, 100%. I was like, they both have brown hair. Of course they're related.
Yeah.
Like, spoiler alert, they're not related.
They're not related.
They have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, that is fucking funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's funny. And again, remember when I had the game and I played through it, people like me and the people around me thought that this was happening in the future. So I thought when I was little, I was like, Kingdom Hearts 3 Keyblade War is coming. That's gonna be the next one.
Were you like, oh my god, Roxas is coming back. Roxas is coming back.
Yes, I did.
I don't know what I thought about Roxas. I literally, I don't even know what I thought.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's funny.
Once again, I don't even know what I thought was going to happen. I think I was just enraptured by the imagery and the, like, not just like the music by itself, because I'm not really the type of person to like go look up a video just to hear the music. But the music obviously really enhanced the situation in the cutscene.
Yeah.
And so having like the emotional music, the fucking sopranos singing in the background.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody's kind of dying and getting their asses whooped. Like, what hope do they have?
Yeah.
The villain rising and looking so evil as he's rising. Like, I don't know. I just remember being so enraptured as a kid, but not really. I don't know if I ever, other than like the whole Sora dad thing, I don't even remember what I thought direction it would go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny that you thought that. I mean, like, that is so, like, early internet.
I know,
like,
right?
Theory, yeah.
I've come so far. I've come so far.
Well. Is that it? Is that all?
I think so.
Oh my gosh. That's it. That's it for Kingdom Hearts 2. Oh my god.
Oh my god, you're right. That's the... Wow.
We're gonna have a season summary next week, but like, wow.
It's gonna be a long season summary.
Yeah. Mel, what's our next game gonna be?
Our next game is going to be... Okay, I was expecting to say this when we crossed the bridge, but we're looking at the bridge, so I might as well say it now. We're gonna be playing 358 days over 2, or 358 over 2 days. The big nerds, I just like to call it 358 over 2 days, but the big nerds, people who are even nerdier than me, are gonna type in the comments, it's 358 days over 2. I don't give a fuck. They didn't write it like that. What do you want me to do? They should have written it like that. Okay.
Yeah, they should have.
But that's the game we're gonna do.
That's the game we're gonna do. So send questions. Go ahead.
We are gonna overall do the movie because that is what is provided in the Journey So Far PS3, PS4 kind of collection. Yeah. But every once in a while, I will put in an anecdote of the DS games, but I will give you the context. But overall, we're just doing the movie. Just like we did the Chain of Memories. We didn't... Well, I guess that's not really true. We're just doing the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. We're just doing the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so send your questions. We'll, again, if you send us before we start the season, we'll organize them, like we have been doing. We're probably going to take a little bit of an extended break, like we did last time. But we have a Patreon now, where we will still be posting every month for an extra episode. And I'll be giving newsletters, detailing progress that we're making on the next season, so that it's not complete silence in the breaks. We had like a couple comments on the first episode of, I think, this season being like, oh my god, they're back. I thought you guys were gone. No, we're not gone. It just takes us some time to prepare.
What you gotta remember is that Hannah is partnered with me, and I make 2 YouTube videos every 4 years, so that's what you're dealing with.
No. But yeah, so we're coming back. We promise. We're coming back. We promise. And yeah, we'll keep you updated. Yeah.
In the meantime, send us emails at sheddingstarlight@gmail.com. And here's the thing about days. Days, this is why I wanted to bring up Chain of Memories. Okay, I wanted to bring up Chain of Memories because our season on Chain of Memories was a little less practical lore and a little more emotion with, like, it's a very character-driven game.
Themes, yeah.
And that's what Days, I just call it Days for short, is like that as well, where it's very character-driven. So it's going to be a little bit more of a character-based season, like Chain of Memories, but there will still be some lore. But overall, either way, send us your emails, any questions you have at sheddingstarlight@gmail.com.
Amazing. Well, you'll see us next week for the season summary. So we can put everything into a nice little package for you. Then we'll be on break. Come see us over on Patreon. And like the video, comment, tell a friend, send us a review, all that good stuff.
Tell a friend. Tell your friend we've done 3 full titles.
Yeah, and we're still going. We've been here for a whole year. We're not going anywhere. It's been a whole year for this podcast. Can you believe it? That's crazy.
Hannah, I am so proud of ourselves. I really am.
It's been amazing. It's been fun. And we'll talk about that more. Again, on Patreon, we're going to talk about our 1-year anniversary and stuff. So check that out soon when that comes out. And yeah, I don't know. Anything else, Mel?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
Just remember this. Xehanort is a bitch. He's wronged other people before and he won't wrong people again, okay?
Xehanort is a bitch. Remember it. Got it memorized? All right. Well, thank you all for watching and listening. And as always,
we'll see you in the Starlight.